Okay, so are you psyched to dig into real estate?
Always.
This is going to be good. We've got Taylor Godin. She's a realtor at Sotheby's International Realty over in Edmonton, Alberta.
Fancy.
Right. But get this, she started out in architectural design.
Oh, okay. That's not your typical realtor background.
Not even close. Talk about a unique
You
perspective,
tell?
right?
Absolutely. It's like having X-ray vision for a house. So cool.
Okay, sold. Tell me more about this whole X-ray vision thing. How does her design background actually give her an edge in real estate?
Well, she's really big on attending inspections herself. Like, she makes it a point to be there.
Interesting.
Yeah, and really observing, all those different phases of construction. She wants to see beyond just the surface, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Really understand how the house is put together. And because she's actually designed homes, she knows exactly what to look for, the things that most people wouldn't even think about.
Oh, I bet. So it's like having that insider knowledge.
Exactly.
But how does she avoid, like, stepping on the toes of the actual inspector? There's got to be a fine line there, right?
Totally. She actually mentioned that, how she has to catch herself sometimes because she just naturally sees things from that design perspective.
Right, right.
But instead of, coming and being like, this is wrong, she'll point things out to her clients and be like, hey, you might want to ask the inspector about this.
Oh, that's smart.
So she's empowering them to ask the right questions, which I think is huge.
Absolutely. It builds trust, too. It's like she's not just selling them a house, she's educating them along the way. Now, speaking of design, I hear Taylor's got a thing for renovations, and not just like a fresh coat of paint kind of thing. We're talking the real deal.
Oh, for sure. She's all about those smart renovations.
Mhm.
She says one of the biggest misconceptions people have is underestimating the carrying costs and the timelines. Like, they watch those home reno shows and think it's all going to be, super quick and glamorous.
Oh, totally guilty of that.
Right. But the reality is it's a lot more complicated.
Way more. So she's really bringing that dose of reality to her clients.
Big time. She really focuses on educating them, helping them understand that renovations aren't always about that quick flip. It's about making smart choices for the long-term value of the property.
Right. It's an investment.
Exactly. And sometimes that means advising them against a renovation.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, if the numbers just don't add up, she's not afraid to say, hold off on that.
That's taking it to a whole other level for sure. She's looking out for their best interest, even if it means potentially losing a sale.
100%.
So we've established she's got this incredible knowledge base, but we also know the real estate market can be, well, a bit of a wild ride. How does she deal with all the constant changes, especially in a place like Alberta with its own set of, let's call them, quirks?
That's where her willingness to experiment and try new things really comes in handy.
Gotcha.
She talked about finding a good balance between those tried and true methods, like open houses.
The classics.
Exactly. And even like door knocking.
Wow, old school. Does that still work?
She says it does.
Yeah.
But then, of course, there's the whole online lead generation thing, which is basically essential these days.
Oh, yeah, especially since COVID, right? Everything's gone digital.
Totally. But she pointed out that even with online lead generation, you really got to stand out. Just having a website or a Facebook ad isn't enough anymore.
Oh, I bet. There are, what, a zillion realtors all vying for attention online now?
Right. And that's where speed to lead comes in, which is something she's really focused on.
Speed to lead. Okay, break down for those of us who haven't heard that term before.
Basically, it means you got to connect with potential clients crazy fast in the online world. Like, people's attention spans are, 2 seconds now?
Pretty much.
Yeah. And the competition is fierce. So if you're not the first one to respond to that inquiry, you might as well be invisible.
Makes total sense if you're scrolling through, like, Facebook and see 5 realtors all basically saying the same thing.
Exactly. You're going to remember the one who actually takes the time to, engage with you right away.
And I'm guessing managing all those leads effectively can basically be a full-time job in itself, which is probably why Taylor started building a team.
Exactly. She's all about working smarter, not harder.
Okay, let's talk about this whole team building thing a bit. What does that look like for her?
So she mentioned bringing on an IS.
An IS.
Yeah, an inside sales agent. They handle all those initial lead conversations and the day-to-day online marketing stuff. Frees her up to focus on what she's best at.
Which is?
Building those solid relationships with clients and, of course, using her design expertise to actually, guide them through the whole process.
So she's basically saying, I can't be the best at everything.
Right.
But I can build a team that is. Love that approach.
It's smart.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And it lets her provide even better service to her clients, which at the end of the day is what really matters.
Absolutely. Now, we're talking a lot about online presence here, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about her Instagram game. I mean, it's basically a realtor's virtual resume these days, wouldn't you say?
It's everything, and hers is fire.
Fill me in. What makes hers stand out? Because I'm telling you, it feels like everyone and their dog is on Instagram trying to sell something these days.
True, but she's strategic about it. It's not just pretty pictures of houses.
Although I'm sure there are some of those too, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But she really focuses on building trust and showing off her expertise.
Okay, so she's using Instagram to actually educate people, not just like shove listings in their faces.
Exactly. It's refreshing, right?
Big time. So what's she sharing? Give me the inside scoop on this Instagram magic.
Well, for starters, she mixes it up, which is smart.
Always keep them guessing.
Right. So there are property tours, obviously.
Yeah.
But like she makes them super immersive.
Oh, how so?
It's like you're right there walking through the house with her.
Yeah.
She's really good at, capturing the feel of a place.
Ah, I get it. So it's not just like, here's the living room, here's the kitchen. It's more about the experience.
Exactly. And then she'll do a lot of behind the scenes stuff too, like giving people a glimpse into her daily life as a realtor.
I like that it makes her more relatable, Like
Yeah.
she's a real person, not just some like suited up sales machine.
Totally. Humanizes the whole experience.
Yeah.
And she's not afraid to get a little real about the market either.
Ah, tell me more.
So she'll break down those like kind of complicated topics, mortgage rates, real estate trends, all that stuff.
In a way that doesn't make my head spin.
Exactly. She makes it super easy to understand, even if you're not like a financial whiz.
So she's giving people actual value, whether they're about to buy a place or not.
Exactly. She's all about empowering her audience.
Love that. So it's less about the hard sell and more about like building that trust factor.
100%. She actually talked about how she sees those educational posts as a way to build trust and really position herself as like the go-to realtor in Edmonton.
Which makes sense because let's be real, people want to work with someone they feel like they actually know.
Especially with something as big as buying or selling a house.
Huge decision. You're not going to trust that to just anyone.
Exactly. And speaking of trust, she really emphasized the whole authenticity thing.
Being genuine, keeping it real.
Yeah, she's not trying to be someone. She's not on Instagram, which I think people can really sense that,
Oh, totally. You can smell a fake a mile away these days.
For sure. And that authenticity, it kind of ties into her whole philosophy about providing that luxury experience for every client, no matter what.
Okay, let's dive into that because she is with Sotheby's, which, let's face it, has a certain reputation. So how does she make that work for, say, first-time home buyers or clients who aren't rolling in dough?
That's what's so cool about her. She's all about challenging those assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she truly believes that luxury isn't about how much money you spend. It's about the experience.
Interesting. So it's more about the feeling.
Totally. It's about the level of service, the attention to detail, just making people feel valued and supported every step of the way. That's her definition of luxury.
I dig it. So it's not about whether you're buying a condo or like a full-on mansion. It's about getting that VIP treatment regardless.
100%. She was saying how she puts just as much care and attention into helping like a first-time buyer find their perfect starter home as she does someone buying a penthouse suite.
That's a powerful message, especially in an industry that can feel, I don't know, a little exclusive sometimes.
For sure. And I think it really just comes down to her genuine passion for helping people find their place.
I love that. It's not just a transaction for her, it's personal.
Totally. And her clients feel that. It's clear that they feel seen and heard. I mean, she's built a crazy successful business on referrals and repeat clients, which speaks volumes, right?
Absolutely. It does. Okay, I'm dying to hear what she had to say about advice for aspiring realtors, those just starting out. But we're going to have to save that little nugget of wisdom for the next part of our deep dive.
And we're back. We're wrapping up our deep dive today with Taylor Godin, Realtor Extraordinaire.
Seriously, she's got it going on. She really knows how to make it in this business and still, stay true to herself.
It's a really inspiring story, but real talk for a sec, the real estate world can be brutal, even for someone as on top of it as Taylor. So how does she stay sane? How does she deal with the pressure?
She's big on support systems.
Makes sense. Got to have your people.
Yeah, both personally and professionally. So like a good therapist and a killer business coach.
Exactly. Though she actually talked a lot about mentors, like finding someone who's been there, done that, and can really offer guidance.
It's like having that real estate Yoda in your corner.
Totally. And passing on those Jedi real estate secrets.
Right. That's got to be so valuable, especially when you're first starting out and everything feels new.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She said having a mentor made all the difference for her, like, especially, those times when she felt like she was just wandering around in the dark.
It can be a lonely business sometimes too, right?
That's what she said. And that's why it's so important to find your people, whether it's a mentor or joining an industry group or even just reaching out to someone you admire for, like a virtual coffee date, just making those connections.
So it's less about that cutthroat competition and more about like lifting each other up.
100%. Which I think is so cool because honestly, that's not always the vibe in the real estate world.
Not always known for its warm and fuzzies, but it sounds like maybe Edmonton is a little different in that way.
That's what she was saying. She sees a lot of realtors in Edmonton really supporting each other,
Yeah.
sharing knowledge, even working together.
Okay, that is seriously cool. And it goes back to that whole rising tide lifts all ships thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
By working together, they're creating a much more positive, collaborative environment. And ultimately, that benefits everyone, especially the clients.
Talk about a win-win. Which brings us to our provocative thought for the day.
Get me?
So we heard how important collaboration is to Taylor. But how can you build those stronger connections in your world? And even if your field isn't exactly known for being, super chummy.
Ooh, good question. It's really easy to get stuck in our own lanes, heads down. But that's how burnout happens.
Truth. So we've got to be proactive, reach out, even if it feels awkward at first.
Exactly. Find your people, whether it's a mentor, a mastermind group, whatever. And just remember, collaboration over competition, always.
I love it. Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive today. Huge thanks to Taylor Godin for sharing so much wisdom with us.
It's been inspiring, honestly. She's proof that you can kill it in this business and still be a good human.
Absolutely. Okay, listeners, until next time, go forth and build those connections and maybe even, sell some houses along the way.